What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, don't mind the mess, but I'm going to show you how to replace a broken lug stud. That one's broken and we have to replace it. I have a new lug stud and a new lug nut here. As always, parts and tools in the description. So having said that, let's get started. For this job, I don't need to jack up the whole front end. I just need to jack up this side so we can fix this one stud. So I'm just going to jack it up here. Okay, take off your remaining lug nuts. And take off your wheel. And as always, slide a jacks in underneath for safety. The next step is to come behind the brake caliper, and I'm going to unbolt the brake caliper straight from the knuckle, not from the bracket. So there's one bolt right there, and if you come right down here, there's another one here. Those are both 17 millimeters. Take those out. All right, take off your caliper. And for now, I'm gonna set it right up here so it doesn't put any pressure on the brake hose. Take off your rotor with the transmission in neutral or the other side of the car jacked up. You want to turn the hub so that this cutout in the backing plate matches the broken stud. And then you just take your hammer and out it comes. Then you get your new lug stud. You want to match it up, compare it, make sure it's the same length, same thread pattern. So get it in here. And they make a tool to do this, but what I do is I have a lug nut that is the same thread pattern as this stud. This is not the lug nut I will be using. This is just a lug nut that I bought specifically to install lug studs. Then I have a spare axle nut that I'm going to use as a spacer. You don't want to put it right into the hub because you can damage the hub. If you have nothing else, then go for it, because it's either you do that or you don't have a lug stud, but preferably don't do that. Thread on your lug nut and your spacer, in my case an axle nut. And once this gets tight, this is done best with an impact gun, but you can also do it by hand. As you tighten this up, it'll hold the lug stud in. Okay, mine did not go in all the way, so I'm gonna have to keep going a little bit. As you can see with that last pull, it got sucked through all the way. My lug stud installer has now become one unit, but that's all right. Here's my new lug nut, which as you can see, matches the OEM one exactly. You wanna make sure you get the right one because they make different ones. This was a cone-shaped lug nut, which grabs onto the wheel with the cone shape. This has the flat washer, which connects to the wheel with the flat washer, so you can't interchange them. So make sure you get the right one. For this car, like I said, parts and tools are linked in the description. Now let's get the rotor on. My brakes are pretty much new, so everything's clean, but if your rotor and hub have rust on them, then definitely clean them up. Next, you want to take your caliper, slide that back on, and start in your 2 caliper bolts. Okay, make sure these are nice and tight. The torque spec for these two is 79 foot-pounds. Now it's time to install the wheel. Start on all your lug nuts. Now that these are bottomed out, the stock torque spec for this is 76 foot-pounds. I'm going to torque mine to 80, but because I replaced the lug stud and the lug nut, I'm going to recheck all of them every single day for the next week to make sure that everything is seated perfectly. I don't want this to loosen up on me, because just in case the lug stud is not 100% seated in there, or if it stretches a little bit because it's brand new, I want to make sure I catch that before something bad happens. So put the car back on the ground, and with just minimal pressure on the wheel, the car is not fully on the ground yet, torque them all. And that's it. The job is done. Lug stud is replaced. So I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope it was helpful. If you have anything to say, leave it down in the comment section below. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share if you feel like it. And having said that, I'll see you in the next one.